What's up, everybody? It's Legal Tender, back in the building, back in the vault. I pulled out a reference. First off, let me say, I want to thank everybody that watched the channel and every newsmatician that partakes in this. So with that being said, this is a special video. This is my first video with a dedicated shout out to my man, Anthony Puccino. I hope I ain't cut up your name, but we be having banter going back and forth. And he steered me in the right direction. So again, this is my first shout out video and my first retraction video. So all of this comes into play from my previous episode, which was about web notes. And AP, he came up on the net and he pointed me in the right direction. So he told me some real business. So it stayed with me for a while to the point where I went back and I did some more research. I did the knowledge and I was proven wrong. And my man, Anthony Anthony Pocchio, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I appreciate you, brother. So it all started with this right here. This is my reference source. This is what I'm citing. So this is what happened. I'm gonna be moving the camera around, so bear with me. Open it up. And let's just get into it. All right, so as I'm reading this, I'm still having a time trying to decipher this, but anyway. All right, so as I was speaking about web notes, and you could identify a web note by the series year and the signatures on it, and by the location. So web notes are printed in not Fort Worth, but in Washington. So you can look at this right here. Series year correct, signatures correct, DC correct. Sheet fed. Nope, we don't need that. Web fed press, that's what we need. Cross-reference that with the series year. Signatures, correct. So on the previous episode, I said that there were, on the series year, there were 6 Federal Reserve banks out of 12 that printed. And you can see them right there. Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Richmond, Atlanta, Chicago, and Atlanta being the only Federal Reserve bank to issue out star notes. So as you can see, that is the Federal Reserve Bank. That is the number of notes that was printed. And this is the dollar amount form at this day. So series 8, I was correct, but I jacked up series year 93 and 95. So Washington, D.C., I looked at that, and that's when the disinformation started. I should have went a little further over. I'm bringing this down. Over here to the top. Web press fed. And my man, he proved me right. So only New York and Philadelphia, 2 Federal Reserve banks issued web notes on series year 1993. And for 1995, WordPress, DC, '95, and we have Boston, New York, and Cleveland, and Atlanta. So series year 1995 only had 4 Federal Reserve banks. 1993 had 2 Federal Reserve banks, and 1988 A had 6 Federal Reserve banks. And the fun fact is that the only Federal Reserve Bank to issue all 3 series years was Federal Reserve Bank New York, and Atlanta is the only one of all 3 series year to issue a star note. So like I said, this was my reference source, and I just didn't read it all the way through. And for that, I apologize for putting out some wacky information, but once the discrepancy was identified to me, I had to fix it. So, Anthony, my man AP, thank you for making me put out the right information. So, all right, brother, thank you. And at some point, look out for something coming from me. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit more, and you're gonna get something. All right, so with today's special shout out video and retraction video, that's all we got. Yes, edition 22. All right, till next time, keep it legal, keep it tender. Talk to you soon.